I want to pivot the conversation just a bit as we start to wrap up here, but it's in line with collaborative growth. And I have a hypothesis that leaders, lenders, advisors that are establishing, building, and leveraging their own personal brands have the potential to outperform, particularly within social media channels, that of the corporate brand. That's another key theme or key thesis that'll be in banking on expertise.
Yep.
You've been doing this, leading the way at DataBox, particularly on LinkedIn. Why? Because I mean, think about this. Like, I can hear a CEO at a bank or credit, and you're like, I'm so busy, I don't have time for this. But you're a
Yeah,
CEO.
absolutely. I don't have time for it either, but I make time because I can generate leads for our product at will. If I needed 10 leads in an hour, I could go get them just by publishing and interacting with the people that interact with my content. And I've built processes at this point in a team so that I don't have to write the first drafts of my content. I don't have to connect with people on LinkedIn. I don't have to do all the follow-ups, and I certainly don't have to jump on a call. I have somebody, that can handle different parts of that process, or do handle that different parts of that process. So it was a matter of, at first I did it all. I was trying to run a company and figure it all out because I felt like I had to figure out the processes and the systems and where to spend time and what to do. But now I have a team of people that are helping me, and I can spend an hour or two a day and generate hundreds of qualified leads for our business.
That's something I want to pause on. You can spend an hour or two a day on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Don't just think about ROI at this point. Also think about return on time, because you have a time multiplier here, particularly as you're building your brand, personal brand on LinkedIn. And its influence. Once again, it's like almost like what is old is new again. It was the old Dale Carnegie book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Love that book. Yes.
I mean, it's the same idea here.
Yep.
What would your recommendation be for a leader or a lender even? And there are a few lenders in the space, particularly on the SMB side and then on the mortgage side, who are leveraging these platforms like LinkedIn and TikTok and Instagram.
Yep.
But for someone who is like, I don't know, convince me, Pete, to make this investment of time, if you will, because that's really all it is. And then you build the system, the process behind the scenes. And I think you said that so well, is you had to experiment and play, but that's spoken like a true entrepreneur. Like, there are 3 levels to this that I learned from Dan Sullivan over at Strategic Coach. You make it up, then you need someone to make it real, and then you need someone to make it repeat. So you made it up.
I like that. Yeah. What was it? Make it up.
Make it up. Make it real. Make it repeat.
I might borrow that one. Dan Sullivan, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So convince someone to do this. They just have to open their eyes. Go follow a bunch of people that are doing this. Follow me, follow you. Go and follow people in their space, people outside their space. They will see that there are people on LinkedIn 10 years out of college making $1 million, getting hundreds of comments on their posts, selling sponsorships for their newsletter, landing consulting engagements where people are raising their hand saying, I want to talk to you. And that's just consulting. That's like, I'm a software product. We're generating hundreds of calls from my sales team as a result of me and a handful of my team members posting regularly just on LinkedIn. And so I think they just have to kind of open their eyes. But the logic for me, originally at least, was that digital marketing has shifted from being, I think, website centric to social media centric, other platforms really.
Yep.
And, nobody goes and hangs out on your website. Lots of people go and hang out on LinkedIn. Lots of people check in on LinkedIn once a week, maybe once a month, but they're doing that way more than they're going to your website.
Yep.
And that's true of LinkedIn and TikTok. The amount of time we spend browsing, TikTok or Instagram, like, that's just ridiculous. Watching YouTube, searching Google, like there's lots of places other than our website that people are going to.
Yep.
And the way I look at it is like, if you rewound the clock like 25 years and somebody said to you, if you film a good ad, I'll play it for you as many times on on rotation and on the TV as you want, right? Cable channel came to you and said, yeah, distribution's free. You just have to film a really good ad. you'd be crazy not to do that, right? And that's really what social is. It's like you literally, as long as you do something good and interesting and entertaining, etc., you get to post it. You get completely free distribution.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's just too many. It's like too easy. So from a CEO's perspective, I think they're foolish if they're not training their lenders, their loan officers, whoever you mentioned, to go and do this stuff,
Yeah.
and encouraging them to do it, rewarding them to do it for doing it. And then I think if you're a lender or you're in that frontline role and you're not doing it, like, you don't care about your career, frankly. Yeah. Like you are not putting in the right of work to build your career. My cousin, in the last few years, he started a realty business. He's one of the top realtors in Philadelphia now. He was able to switch from one real estate office to another without losing a beat, because his reputation, of course, and his social media presence is what allowed him to just do it, right? And it's not just him. He brought his team of 5 people over to this new real estate office because he had his own following and could pull that off.
And that right there, you got Jill Castilla, you've got Keith Costello over at Locality Bank, a digital bank out of Florida. I think it's a matter of being aware and then putting in the practice, putting in the reps, and building the consistency, building the habit. The hardest thing a lot of times is just to get started. But once you get started, then it just becomes part of the daily routine. And it's not 1999 anymore. It's not 2009 early social media anymore. I think your point back to people are hanging out on your websites, they're hanging out on social media. That's where the awareness is happening. You're helping first, though. You're giving more than you're going to receive.
Yep.
But then, you look at the long play with this. It's about placing micro deposits into the trust funds of people that sits between their ears. It's going to pay dividends.
For put it in financial terms, your following is an annuity, right?
Yeah.
You're in it compounds.
It really does. Let's wrap up on a practical point here for someone to get started with what we've been talking about here today around collaborative growth. What would be one small, simple thing that they could do today to get some momentum moving forward?
Yeah. So this will be relevant, I think, if you're the CEO or the lender or wherever you are in the hierarchy or org structure. Pick one of your best clients this week and call them and say, hey, can I interview you over Zoom, record it, and then take some pieces of that, what you share with me, and write a quick story for my LinkedIn profile. I will mention you. I will mention your business. We'll say positive things, of course, about you and your business and your experience of working with me. And then take and write 300 words on that and publish that. And then ask them to just share it around with whoever, some other people in their networking groups, maybe their mom or their spouse, but whoever might be relevant, and be proud of hearing that story.
Super simple.
Not only will you strengthen and cement that relationship because you're going to have a nice positive interaction, but they're going to tell their story. You're going to help them tell their story to their contacts. You're going to be telling their story to your contacts, which helps them. And that'll help you get started. That's networking in the digital world. It's really simple. Do that once a week. And call me in 4 weeks if it doesn't help you land at least a handful of good conversations with potential clients.
I think that's it. It leads to the conversations. It leads to the connection. And it all comes back to people and humanity at this point. Pete, thanks for being a good human being. This has been a great conversation today.